The second most common question I get asked as a magician is, how did you do that? The first being, can you make my wife disappear? Now, how did you do that is also a question that I have never answered, and magicians usually don't answer. At least a good magician will. But why don't magicians actually reveal their secrets? A lot of people think that the reason a magician doesn't tell you how he did what he did is because he doesn't want to share this secret with you and thereby allowing you to be able to do what he has just demonstrated. That is to say, he doesn't want other people to be special like he is. But that's actually not true, but it's also common because when you learn a magic trick and you show it to a group of friends, they kind of nag you and they insist that you tell them how did you do it. So it isn't that the magician doesn't actually want people to know how he did this demonstration that makes him the center of attention and therefore be the only one who could do it. It's actually much deeper. The reason magicians don't tell you how they did what they did is because that would defeat the very purpose of the magic and defeats the purpose of the reason they actually do magic. So why would we do magic? What's the reason for magicians to become magicians? Well, magic is the illustration and the pointing out that there is actually beauty in mystery. What happens is we go about our lives and we think we know absolutely everything and we just kind of accept that. Now, this is subtle and it's not usually very pronounced, but we do. We kind of think that we know everything. In truth, we all know that there is actually beauty in mystery. In fact, the magician never says or never claims, at least a good magician, will never claim that what he's doing is actually real. A synonymous name for magic is also magic tricks, and tricks implies that what they're demonstrating is not actually true and it's not real, which it isn't. Morgan and West have a line in their show where they say something like, "Our job as magicians is to pretend to do something impossible in front of adults that are willing to pretend that we can do what we claim to do." And that's why it's entertaining. So when you're watching a movie, you don't look at it and think, well, that's not true, that can't happen, it's not logical. You are willing to suspend a little bit of logic just to be entertained because you came to the movie theater specifically to be entertained by the movie, and you know that it is just a movie. When people show you a magic trick, it's the same thing. They're not claiming to have superpowers. What they're saying is that I am going to show you something that would suggest that reality itself is malleable. When people ask you, if you are a magician, when people ask you, how did you do that? They are not actually saying, explain to me exactly how you did it. They do not want to know. What's going on is that their intellect is protecting their emotion which you have just exposed. That means that they would rather actually not know, because as soon as you tell them how you did it, it kills the illusion. The magician refuses to tell you how he did the trick that he did because he wants you to keep enjoying how it was done. Or rather, he wants you to keep enjoying what you've just saw. In fact, if I was to show you a trick, and before I do the trick, even though it was a great trick, if I tell you, you will not figure out, I bet you cannot explain what I'm about to show you right now, and then I go on to demonstrate it, what's gonna happen is that you will not be entertained because you're not focused on the entertainment. You took what I said as a challenge because I did challenge you, and it's as if I'm saying to you, if you don't find out how I'm gonna do the next thing, that you should be observant and watching me so you could explain, then you are stupid. And if I say that, then it's immediately a challenge, and it's just an intellectual level where art, performer's art, is actually emotional and not intellectual. So what I did in the example that I just gave you is I intellectualize it. Is that a word? I don't know, but what I did is I just slipped it into a sphere of an intellectual narrative that I want you to explain. It's basically a puzzle and not exactly something for you to enjoy. Some people complain that physicists ruin nature or ruin a few things by explaining it. Now, while I don't agree with those people, I understand what they're saying, because what they're saying is basically, I would rather not know how a rainbow works so that I can enjoy it just as this magical thing that exists out there. What they're saying is that if I go to a class and it explains to me exactly how a rainbow works, I will never see the rainbow the same again, and I will never see the beauty in it. And the same thing happens to you when you watch a really good magic show. You'd be leaving that theater thinking, wow, this is just surreal. That's amazing. But if they explain to you, if they turn around and explain to you exactly how everything is done, it is simply no longer entertainment for you, which, like I said in the beginning, it defeats the point and the very purpose of doing magic in the first place as a performance art. There was a guy on TV who was named the Masked Magician, and he would go around and reveal really some of the best and most powerful actually used classics of magic, and he explains it. He just turns around and explains it. That's the whole show. There's nothing about the show. It shows you a trick and then immediately explain it. That show specifically, if you look at it, I have 2 comments on it. It demonstrates what I've just said very well. You watch the performance and you're like, how the hell did that happen? And there's a bit of joy and butterflies that happen inside of your belly because you watched a really nice performance. But then when they turn around and explain it, you're like, how did I not think of that? How did I not think of it? It's so simple. And what happens after is you don't enjoy it. And in fact, you actually completely forget how it was done after a while. And that's the second point. A lot of magicians were upset when this guy aired and he explained all of these tricks, and myself included. I find that really degrading to the art, and he didn't really respect the art which he was involved in. So what he did there was wrong because of the nature of the art. But the point is, I don't think people actually remember those tricks that they watched when they go into the theater. For example, if you watch The Masked Magician and you see an illusion, and then you find out how it was done, and then 2 years later you see the same thing performed, you are likely to actually forget the explanation and still be amazed by what you just saw in the theater. And the point being is, it's not about the secret, it's actually about the feeling and the emotion the magic elicits. A magician is like someone who takes reality and he kind of opens up this wormhole that shows you that reality can be malleable, and then he closes it right back again. And that's why a common reaction when people see magic tricks, and I know that from experience, is that sometimes they will look around to the people around them. And what this is basically a physical reaction that says, at least this is my reading to it, is that did anybody just see what I just saw? Or was it just me? Because they're questioning reality itself, and of course, like I said, their intellect is protecting their emotion and they don't want to feel like they're crazy. So they look around to confirm that they're actually not crazy and that everyone is on the same level of reality. That has so much beauty in it. And a magician or an illusionist is someone who sees that beauty and actually performs it. Again, he's the guy who opens up the wormhole for you to see something that is outside of this reality for a moment, and then he closes it back again. If I were to go to a palm reader, I personally would not believe everything that he says, but I would still take it for entertainment. Entertainment, it is not meant to be absolutely 100% real. And we all know this. But we challenge magic specifically because, like I said, sometimes, because of its nature and its secrets, it kind of challenges the intellect. If you are a magician, I'm gonna tell you right now, never attempt even to share your magic as some kind of puzzle or a type of challenge, because you're missing the point of the reason magic even exists as an art, and you're challenging your spectators, which means they are not going to enjoy. And if you are a non-magician and a spectator, but someone who likes to look at magic shows, then my advice to you is to never look for an explanation. You are going to feel like getting an explanation, but I'm gonna tell you, if you care about your own entertainment. If that's the reason you watch magic tricks and not to actually learn them, and maybe one day you want to become a magician, I'm going to tell you right now, just don't. Don't look for an explanation. There is beauty in mystery and in the unknown. And that is what magic is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share your thoughts. Whether you're a magician or a non-magician, this is an open space. You can speak to me. This was the reason magicians don't tell their secrets. At least this is why I don't tell the secrets of magic. And when I perform and people ask me, that is what I tell them. Bye. I'm done.